Are you a repeat offender? And what do I mean by being a repeat offender? So, I'm talking about doing the same thing over and over again and suffering the same consequences after you've done that thing over and over again. So here's where I am right now, and I'm just going to share with you I'm on my debt-free journey, or trying to get on this debt-free journey, the Dave Ramsey baby steps. Um, but I'm going to talk about how my money habits have been a repeat offender. So in about 3 weeks, maybe a little, yeah, about a month, my daughter, she'll be graduating from her nursing program. And I'm so excited. My daughter is in Detroit and I live in Myrtle Beach, but I can't afford to go to my daughter's graduation. Oh, I'm going, but I can't afford to go. And so I'm going to tell you why I can't afford to go and what that has to do with me being a repeat offender. So in 2021, October 1st to be exact, I moved from Detroit, Michigan to the Myrtle Beach area. And when I moved, I wasn't prepared to move financially. I literally drove here with everything I owned in the back of my Dodge Journey truck, little SUV. I had found a place to rent, and I had like 800, almost $900 in my bank account. And I just decided I was going to start over from scratch and get on my feet. I had filed bankruptcy in like 2016 or 17, so I was trying to start over. By this time, it was the height of COVID. Some things happened, and I had to move from the house that I was in Detroit in COVID, and I just decided, you know what? I wanted to live in Myrtle Beach, and I was trying to put my finances together so that I can move in 2022, December, but I ended up doing it over a year and a half sooner than I wanted, so I wasn't prepared. When I got here, I couldn't find a job, and everything went south, and I started using credit cards to live off of and personal loans, and I got into debt again. And so when I did that, I found myself back in the situation again, like I said, in debt. Now, mind you, I had filed bankruptcy prior to that, and all my debt was gone, but I started over in debt again. Oh my gosh. And so what I ended up doing is I found a job. It wasn't paying very much, and that's why I was living off the credit cards and doing personal loans and different things that I said, and dug myself right back into debt. Then my son was getting married in 2023. I couldn't afford to go to his wedding. Again, he was in Detroit. I was in Myrtle Beach. And I couldn't afford to go to his wedding. So what I did in 2022, I started looking for a roommate, and I got a roommate to kind of help offset some of the bills because I wanted to save up my money and get ready to go to my son's wedding in May of 2023. So I started looking for a roommate in like November of 2022. Found a roommate, um, and thought I was going to be okay then. I was working a job. So I was trying to, get the money together. But, technically I couldn't, I literally couldn't afford to go to my son's wedding. Um, but I went, even though I couldn't afford to go. I drove there. I stayed there after after being there. Um, I stayed there about a month, and because I drove there, I was able to use my vehicle to drive for Lyft because I was doing that before I left Detroit. So I was able to make money while I was there, but I really couldn't afford to go to my son's wedding. I had no money, no savings. I had gotten a roommate to help with the bills at my house so that I could use some of the money that I was paying for rent and utilities towards making it to Detroit to go to my son's wedding. Looked good when I got there. Happy that I wasn't going to miss that for anything in the world. And it was a big event. It was the biggest event of my life besides giving birth to my children and having grandchildren, watching my son get married, right? Then I came back to Myrtle Beach, and then there was our family reunion was going to be in Detroit, and I was put in charge of putting that family reunion together, and that family reunion was going to take place in July of 2024. Now, mind you, I had been to Detroit in May of 2023, and I couldn't afford to go. That was my son's wedding, but I wasn't missing that. So my mindset was like, okay, that's done. Um, Before that, I had also gone to a family reunion in Georgia, and I think that was in July of 2023. Couldn't afford that, but I packed up my little car, drove from Myrtle Beach to Georgia. It's 5 hours. The hotel, I split that with my family, so but I couldn't afford to go to that either. But I went anyway because I didn't want to let my mom down. Then had the nerves to volunteer to do our next family reunion in Detroit, where I was living in Myrtle Beach, but but I figured, by the time the next family reunion came around, which was going to be in July 2024, I should be in a better position, right? I should be in a better position. So I'm working and I'm doing all the things that I need to do. And I'm in charge of setting up the family reunion in Detroit along with my sister. So there's no way I can't show up to the family reunion, right? So from July of 2023 to July 2024, I figured I'd be okay. You know, I'll be working, I'll be able to afford to go. I can pay for my hotel room, I can pay for my registration fees. I couldn't afford to go. See, in my mind, though, if I could pay for the hotel fee and I could pay for the registration fee, then I can afford to go. That was the thing that I kept doing, repeat offending, making just enough money to make it to my son's wedding, making just enough money to make it to the family reunion. And now here I am again. My daughter's graduating nursing school. I'm not going to miss that. I don't have to pay for a hotel room. I just need to get to Detroit. And I'm going to, just fly into Detroit and stay with my son and my daughter-in-law and be there for the weekend while she's graduating. But I'll be missing work. I won't be making any money there because I'm not driving my truck there to do any Lyft or whatever. Because I don't want to be there that long. I just want to go in and go out. But I can't afford to go, technically. And I'm trying to get started with the Baby Steps program. And I was working just like before my son's wedding, before the family reunion. I was working, but then in the caregiving business, and my client quit. Well, they didn't need my service. That happened to me before my son's wedding. It happened to me again before the family reunion in Detroit, and it's just happening to me now. So when I talk about being a repeat offender, a financial repeat offender, that's what I am. And I'm working, and hear me out, because I'm working to get out of being a repeat offender. This is going to be my absolute last time that I go anywhere and I'm still drowning in debt. So there's a family reunion next year in Florida. The only thing I have to come up with is partial room payment and all that. And I know Dave Ramsey says, don't you can't afford to go. You can't afford. You should not be taking vacations. You should not be eating out. You should be working like crazy to get out of debt, right? That should be your number one goal. And that is, when I get back, I'm gonna be pressing the gas to get out of debt. I no longer want to participate in this behavior of being a repeat offender. You know how people they commit a crime and they go to jail and they come back out and they commit the same crime and they go back to jail and they come back out and they commit the crime again and they go back to jail and they come back out. It's insane when you think about it, because you always think, why do they keep doing the same thing over and over again and ending up with the same results, and they never learn a lesson? And then it occurred to me, girl, that's what you're doing. The same thing over and over again, and you're not learning a lesson. You're a repeat offender. Think about it. What are you doing that's keeping you in the same broke situation that you're in? What offense do you keep committing where you can't get out of debt? Keep committing the same offense, you're going to keep getting the same results. And that's what I'm telling myself. Get out of debt. To get out of debt, you got to stop repeating that same habit. That program is not working. So, hear me out. I know you're probably going to say, look, I'm not missing my daughter's graduation. That's just the bottom line. I'm not going to do it. But from that point forward, I'm going to be working like crazy to get this debt paid off, so that I do not have to become a repeat offender again. I can get off of parole. I can get off probation. I can walk away if I change my habit, if I change my outlook, if I change my motivation. So that's what I'm sharing with you guys today. Thank you so much for checking in, breaking out of my shell. Like and subscribe to my channel. Follow my journey of getting out of debt. Enjoy your feedback. Talk to you soon.